Like every time I do one of these events, I'm like, it's so life-giving because I meet all the, like, we all meet new people. We all have great conversations. We're all like-minded. We have similar values. Then we're just eating food. Like who doesn't love an event surrounded by good food?
When a new client first comes to me, they've usually tried all the things to lose weight and are ready to give up. And that's why we do health differently.
It's time to ignore all the trends, the ads, and even our own friends and family, and instead start listening to our bodies.
If you are tired of all the noise and misinformation and ready to use a new approach to improve your health, you're in the right place. My name is Lauren Leitner. Welcome to Personal Wellness.
I have a very special guest that I gravitated towards Eunice here. We'll share that. And also, she's going to share all about her. But I wanted to really talk about how to find the balance of having joy with food and also having routine around movement and just finding where there's no guilt around eating and so many other things that we will be able to dive into today so that you start living with life without shame, without guilt around food, and have it be an experience and like part of life and social activity, because that's how I found you. And you tell me like all about you, and then we'll get into questions. Sound good?
Perfect.
I saw her on Instagram. She's always eating vegan food. And even if you're not a vegan, it's not the point of this. I was like, what is this girl doing? Where is she? Where is she headed this time? So she's traveling around the world eating vegan food. Always like for chronic dieters, it could seem so extreme. And then on the other end, this post about her running with other people. And I'm like, okay, so is she into fitness? What is happening here? Okay, she understands like the difference of enjoying it and also like staying active, and there must be some balance, which I know you're going to talk about. But I, what drove me to that is not the running. I don't love running. It was the community aspect of seeing all different kinds of people running behind you. And I was like, okay, that's what I wanted. I wanted to stop being alone and connect myself with other people. So that's how I found you. Come run with you once, right? With Christmas.
Yes, the ugly sweater run. That was so fun.
That was so much fun. And I had the best time. I went in not knowing a single person and just came out with the biggest smile. First, tell me like how you came to be on Instagram and all the things that you do.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So to try to make this long story short, after college, I mean, that's when you kind of start learning how to cook is during college, right? So the more you start cooking, and for people who haven't cooked, that's kind of like your foodie journey. Like the more I cooked, the more I loved it. And I come from a huge family that loves food. So I've always loved food and I've, always been curious. And so I used to watch a lot of content on either TV or YouTube of people reviewing food or what food looked like in different countries. I've always loved just learning about that. But when I became plant-based, first I became vegetarian with the goal to become vegan. So during that whole plant-based journey, I found myself still watching the content that I was watching before because that was my kind of my escapism where I like to learn about food and different cultures. But I was watching it as a now plant-based eater. I was like, I can't eat that anymore. I can't eat that anymore. I can't eat that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how come nobody's showing where to eat vegan food in like different cities? And even though I had eaten before going vegan, vegetarian, I ate a lot of vegan food because I was always into health and I loved the nutritional benefit of some ingredients. Like let's say in baking, I loved baking. When I learned that you could substitute flax seeds for eggs, I remember being so fascinated because it acted just like egg in a cake, but it had so much nutritional value in terms of omega-3s. It had no cholesterol. It had no, so I was already incorporating a lot of plant-based food in my diet because I just loved the health benefits for it, which is why it was kind of easy for me to just transition and get out of it. But that being said, even though I did love a lot of vegan vegetarian foods, when you're first transitioning, I mean, I'm sure you know it's hard, seeing your favorite tacos on YouTube or on TV and you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't eat that anymore. Like where can I get something that's similar to that, but it uses plant-based ingredients? So because I loved eating out at restaurants and I love traveling, I was like, you know what? I was like, should I just try this? Should I go on social media and try to feature what vegan food looks like? I want people to know that plant-based food looks and can be delicious, right? And show all the creative ingredients that are being used, like jackfruit, at the time that was like a mind-blowing thing for me. This was back in 2017, right? And so I decided I think it was 2018, I think, when I first started my YouTube channel. I was living in Seattle and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try this. I don't know anything about YouTube. And yeah, I wasn't really focusing on Instagram back then. It was more YouTube. I had an account, but it was more to promote my YouTube channel. So I just started. And I just tried to figure it out. And from there, it's been such a rewarding experience because not only did I learn about it connected me with a community who was also interested in a plant-based diet, in, wholesome vegan ingredients, sharing the story of why they wanted to go vegan, and connected me with more vegan people. I ended up living in Spain for 2 years. And if it weren't for my Instagram account, some of my really good friends that I made while I was there, I would have never met them had it not been for my Instagram page because I was sharing about vegan food. So I think the most rewarding experience has been about this community create connecting with other vegans and learning their stories and connecting with vegan restaurants and seeing how much it's grown globally. Like in every country, there is a vegan presence. And so that's kind of how I got started. And to now fast forward to today, I like to share what vegan food looks like. Just in anywhere I travel and different restaurants here in LA, we're like in a little mini vegan heaven here. And you can find almost any cuisine vegan, which is awesome. And so sharing just different vegan restaurants and what they're doing in the vegan scene has become a big passion of mine.
Yeah. I mean, clearly you have the passion. There were a couple things you just said that I think even if you're not plant-based, then all the things that we think even as dieters, this is what I can't. That's our main focus, and that's what you initiated it. But it was like you shifted that to what can I do? And it takes extra effort,
Yeah.
right? To actually find what you need to accommodate your lifestyle with no apologies. Because that's one thing I've heard even in clients. I had to go out with somebody and they were drinking, so I had to drink, and I don't really feel good
Right.
when I drink. So then why do you make that choice? And I think
Right.
what you're saying is just that if you want it there to be a way, there's a
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that the key to that, I love that. It's just framing your mindset rather than thinking oh my gosh, I can't have this anymore. Cause of course that's how I initially thought. But I was like, no, there's got to be a way to either make this vegan if I can't already find it, or be who's doing this already? It was like an adventure. I was like, oh, now I'm excited because I'm going to explore a whole new world that I wasn't even on my radar before because I was, consuming a different diet and, I had a different lifestyle. And for me personally, it was more exciting to cook vegan than it was non-vegan. It's easy to go buy a piece of chicken and just shred it. But then when I found out that, oh, did you know you can get mushrooms and if you season it this way, I was like, oh, that now this is a more creative way to cook, right? Or with tofu is a blank canvas. You can do so many things and you can play with the texture by freezing it, right? So for me, it's more fun to see how you can play with these ingredients, right? And so I think it's just I know it depends too. People like to cook, but I think just framing your mind to think this is more an adventure now, and it's you should be excited about what you are going to learn and what you will be able to eat, and that the varieties are endless, right? I think that's the best way to approach it.
Exactly. And by the way, chicken is a blank slate too. So for all
True.
the people who think about tofu, it's the thing,
Yes.
except one's an animal and it's not. I've also heard people I hate vegan, I hate, but all the things it gives you It's that freedom to fun, to explore, to do something, to share that joyful experience. And again, you said, and it's how I was drawn to you, the idea of community. I didn't even realize that was something I was craving, is not running, because I've
Yeah.
I did pretty well that day. But
Yes, good. I had no idea you weren't a runner.
well, there you go. But it's because, like, okay, I'm there, so I might as well just embrace it. But I think that's the same mindset, is people getting back to the kitchen and enjoying it. You don't have to be a cook. I'm not a runner, but I'm gonna run it because we're doing it together. And what I'm going to get out of it is something extraordinary, right? Having lunch like we all did together, trying new
Yeah.
food and having conversations with people I don't know. But that's the impact you had, and you had that instinct to do so. I want to switch gears a little bit because I want to know, like, you did mention, like, you grew up around food and you guys all enjoyed it. And I know some of us, might have had a bad relationship with food because we have inner critics. We had people that have told us other things. So, did you start your experience online because you have a relationship with food, your history with?
So yes, I feel like like I had mentioned before, my family, they're just big foodie people. My dad loves cooking. I mean, my mom too. And so but my dad is the one, I think he's a creative. So he was kind of like the chef. Like he'd always come up with with different recipes or learn about different recipes and try to make them at home. And so that to me was also always something that I loved. And so I feel like food in general has always been embraced by my family. And just for me, the curiosity is what led me to also want to discover different foods, right? And try different things. Even though growing up, we didn't really go to restaurants a lot, So I was always eating either Salvadoran food or Mexican food. Like it wasn't until college when I started making different friends, like outside of my little circle, right? Because, when you're a kid, you kind of stick with your friends. So then it wasn't until later that I started discovering more food, and I loved it. I loved just having different connections, different cultures through food. To me, that's how I think that's also why my love for travel came, because you can even travel through food and not leave your city, right?
Yeah. And also, like, traveling, that's also, you got to plan ahead. I've been asked that question. In fact, when I was at your group, someone asked, how do you travel, when you're a vegan? You plan ahead. Like,
Yeah.
but for anything else, you do the research ahead of time so I don't have to stress where I'm going to get vegan food. So when you travel, I imagine that you do some research ahead of time, or do you just spontaneously arrive somewhere and be like, where can I?
I think it depends where I'm going, because I know there's definitely more vegan friendly cities than others. But for example, I'm going to be going to Jamaica for a wedding soon. And I'm not too familiar with Jamaican cuisine. I mean, growing up on this side, I don't think I personally just haven't had a lot of it. So I'm going to be researching ahead of time in the city that I'm going to be in to know what I can and cannot eat, right? Or at least have 2 restaurants already on hand just there. And then once you're there, eh, I always love asking restaurants where else they recommend, like, too, just for fun, because they'll always tell you, like, oh, you can also here or here or here, right? And I also just like to leave room for a little spontaneity in case you stumble upon something. For the most part, I like to already know which restaurants I can eat at or what dishes tend to be vegan that I can find most commonly at a lot of places. But if I'm going to a city like London, I will plan. I'll definitely pick some highlights, because that one, there's so many options that you still kind of have to do research, because you have to narrow down your options, right? Depending on how many days you're there. But there you can easily kind of just wing it depending on where you're staying, and just like pull up Google and be like, oh, okay, so what's around me that has vegan options, right? Yeah.
Is your family vegan or just you?
No, I'm the only vegan one in my family. They're all flexitarian. They love vegan food. They just haven't fully committed, if that makes sense. But I would say my whole family, nobody is opposed to it. They're like, oh, yeah, okay, we'll try it. So they're very supportive. During a lot of family gatherings and holidays, they'll always remember me and be like, oh, we'll either, we'll make you a vegan option, or here, this is what we're making. If you want to make something that complements this dish, we'll make sure to have something vegan for you. So that's always really nice. But it really is nice to have that. But yeah, as of now, I'm the only vegan in my family.
Too, and I think that's interesting. Not everybody has the support that you just mentioned, which can also be a challenging. So coming back to this idea of planning, like I know for me, I have to think ahead, like what am I gonna bring for myself? What am I gonna do? That was also another conversation I had with you, great, because it's like not everybody understands it or wants to understand it. Like I think you said, like a curious mindset. Not everybody's curious.
Yeah.
So it's like your way is your way. But
Right.
being okay that no matter how you eat or what you eat is to take care of what you need. If that means bringing a dish that only is going to feel good for you, would be something to do. But that's amazing. But I love to hear that, they honor that for you. I'm sure they've gotten creative, right?
Yeah. I think they also love learning about like, oh, I didn't know you can make it vegan this way, so they have fun with it because they all love cooking and stuff too. So yeah, it's been great.
Well, if I had a magic wand, I'd make more people like your family and help have that, but that's okay too. So you've got to take care of yourself in this process. Now, since I truly found you again through running, what made you start that for yourself? Because you were doing a lot just with the vegan food. How did you put your two worlds together?
So I've always enjoyed fitness and exercise since I was young. Like I want to say, I think I remember Shape magazine. I used to read those in like middle school. I remember, and I think that's also where my interest for health started too. It's just like reading just like a lot of the nutritional benefits of certain foods of like, you make sure you have to have enough fiber and this is why. And I remember just like, at a young age when you're 12 or whatever, 13, you're like, oh, cool. I just remember I got into fitness. I liked exercising. I was in track and field high school for my senior year in high school. So I want to say that's when I started running. So I got, ever since then, I loved it because it was very like it's therapeutic. Like, the endorphin run you get from running, that's a real thing. Like you really do have a mood boost when you go running. And I've always liked it. For me, it's a nice stress relief. I know it's not for everyone, but I've always just enjoyed it. I've never been a huge long distance runner. I think the longest I've ever ran consecutively is like 5 miles. But even if that's it's still very good, like, right? That's 10K. And so I used to like, sometimes for me, just for fun, because again, I love food. I love food and I just like to eat whatever I want, whenever I want. So, but I also understand like, hey, I'm also trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So I remember like, and when I lived in Seattle, there was this bakery that I loved to go to. And I would be like, you know what? I really want this giant croissant. And I was like, or if I really wanted a donut or who knows what, I was like, I'm going to go run there. Right. Because it's like, as even though I let myself eat whatever, I am also conscious that some of the foods I love are very high in calories and not the most nutrient dense, let's say. Right. Which is fine. I'm not going to feel guilt, but also if I'm trying to maintain like a certain either lifestyle or weight or whatever, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to I'm going to run there because then it'll kind of like bounce out. So the way I always saw it was like, I'm earning credits to cash in for my reward. That's how I've always like seen it. And so I don't know. So I thought to myself, but I had been talking about this run club idea for, oh my gosh, probably a year before I actually did it. I remember I used to talk to my friend about it, I was like, what I really want to do, and I think it'd be a lot of fun, and it would help connect a lot of the community in LA, because I would always hear other vegans talk about how they wanted to meet other vegans. And, and I was just, and, you don't really meet them at events where, like, let's say there's food pop-ups, because typically you're going by yourself, you're going with a friend, and then you're talking only with your friend and going to the places you like. You never talk to the other people really around you. I mean, maybe you do a little bit, but that's not why you went, right? It wasn't a community-focused event. And so I was like, it'd be fun if we like ran to vegan restaurants so we would support the restaurant, but also we get to talk to each other and connect. And it was also a way for me to connect with my followers too, because I was like, it's fun. I like to just meet people in real life. Like, I love that. Again, like I told you, like the best part of the platform has been I've met so many different people just because I was posting about vegan food, and some of my favorite people I've ever met and some of the fun adventures I've had have been just people that I've met through Instagram, like, which is crazy, but it's been such a rewarding experience. So I did that event because I was like, it'd be a fun way for us to do it. What we love is, eat good vegan food, but also connect as a community and get to know each other and exercise, because those are my three favorite things.
Yes. And I mean, listen, there's so much power in even the way you started your vegan adventure online was you just do it. You just
Yes.
start. You had an idea. I see this the same way as, get to your goals, whatever your goals are. Yesterday wasn't an option, but like you just do it, whatever it takes. And if it was just filming one food for you or posting one thing about running to get more people, it's like you just have to start. And
Yeah.
the biggest lesson we can all do to move forward. Otherwise, we are just walking against the wall all the time. But, okay, with all this, now you talk about running, and there's a lot of people who are listening who are like, "Oh no, you will never get me to run because it just like it makes you sick in your stomach just thinking about it." So, speak to how we get more people to move their body. And do you feel like you have invited all fitness levels into this community? Just be together.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because initially there was when I first started the running club, and it's like jog. We're not doing fast running by any means. Like, I definitely don't run at my normal pace when I'm at these. I'm just usually talking and hanging. It's more for the hanging out, and you actually don't realize how quickly you get to your destination because you're talking to other people. But I made it 2 miles because it's a little in the middle. So if you're a beginner, it's not extremely difficult. But if you're advanced, you're kind of there like, oh yeah, like this is for hanging out. But I've been recently getting a lot of requests from people who want to go walking. And for a run club, I've said no, it's a run club, because then, then you got to split between groups, and then it's just, I don't like people to like be separated. But I have recently thought about it, about maybe hosting it one time. It's just do a walking club. Yeah, I am interested in doing that. And just so I can maybe not all the time, but maybe definitely to include more people who are in the community of different fitness levels, because I think that would be fun. But I think another thing I like to tell people is, when it comes to fitness, don't overwhelm yourself by thinking that you have to do like a whole hour of working out. No, if you only got 5 minutes, or you only want to work out 5 minutes, I've done some killer workouts for 5 minutes. I can send you a 5-minute ab video and a 5-minute arm video that kills me every time. And it doesn't matter how many times I work out. I'm like, oh my gosh. Afterwards, I was like, that was the worst 5 minutes ever. But it was 5 minutes. We have no excuse for 5 minutes. We all scroll on Instagram for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? If more. So a little goes a long way, even if it's broken out throughout the day. Like, maybe in the morning you only want to do 5 minutes, in the afternoon you do another 5 minutes, and then in the evening you do another 5 minutes. There you go. You did 15 minutes of either weightlifting or any kind of exercise throughout the day, right? A little bit goes. It's like, I like the I forgot the actual term. It's just like the micro, like little baby steps. Just you bite size things, and it can still get you towards your goals, right? But it's better than doing nothing, right?
If you can't get away from and watch Eunice all the time, then march in pit while you're doing it, right?
Exactly.
I mean, there is truly no excuse. What I do with my clients, it's power 5. Like you said, set a timer for 5 minutes. Everybody has 5 minutes to spare.
Yeah.
Everyone. So make a choice and
Mhm.
move forward for us to enjoy life and still be productive in our life. And just like working out or moving or whatever you want to call it, don't feel more productive during the day.
Oh yeah, I definitely have like more energy. And that could be changed to whatever schedule you have, right? When I used to work in a corporate office, I'm not a morning person, so I hated waking up extra early just to work out in the morning. I was like, no way, that's not happening. But because I was sitting at a desk all day, I loved going for runs afterwards in the afternoon after work, after I clocked out, I would just like run, at the waterfront or whatever. But I love doing workouts in the mornings now because it's like the best way to get started also. Like you start moving your body and you just feel better, you have more energy regardless of when you work out, as long as you're like exercising in some way consistently, you will have more energy, right? And it's a mood booster. It's proven to just help your mood as well. It's not just your physical appearance. It helps your brain too. It's good for mental health.
It's
So,
mental health. That is, I mean, endorphins, there's science, the chemicals
yeah.
that are given off. And ultimately, when it comes to moving away from this diet culture, it actually just engage more on how you feel. And that's what we're talking about here is
Yeah.
everything you're doing is okay. This makes me happy. So surrounding yourself with the things that make you happy, whatever that
Mhm.
means to some people, that that's big. Do you find yourself that you are more of a planner or you're spontaneous? Like, do you have to plan ahead in order to get your workouts in, or how do you do it?
No, I can sometimes base it on my mood. Like maybe sometimes I'll be like, you know what? I kind of want to, if I feel like I haven't gone running in a while, I'm like, God, I'm going to go running tomorrow. Like I like to switch it up between either running or weightlifting. And even if you don't have weights, you can use your own body weight. There's lots of workouts where you use your own body weight and that's plenty. But for the most part, I can see how I'm feeling in the mornings. Like this morning, for example, I was like, I usually aim for at least 20 minutes. But today I was like, you know what? No, I'm doing 15 minutes. What do I feel like doing? I want to do compound workout. So it was weightlifting, right? But it's a lot of different movements. So that feels nice to do. Sometimes as soon as I don't want to do anything and I'm like, you know what? Today I just want to do something, but I'm not going to do my usual workout. I'm sore maybe from the day before. I'm going to do 5 minutes or I'm going to make my own thing, right? So I do my 5 minute arm workout and then I'll like just come up with something else that I like to do. But I kind of focus it on whatever area that I want. Like if I want, focus on glutes, I'll look for like a glute exercise. If I want to work out my arms, you're like, today I feel like working out my arms. Today will be abs. Today will be a combination of the two. You can choose kind of how you go. I know there are lots of plans out there. I know not everyone's like me who can be like, just decide, oh, today I feel like doing this. They kind of like to follow a schedule. And I think that's great because there are a lot of, I know, fitness influencers that have plans as well. And I think those are very helpful. But at the end of the day, I think you just want to alternate whatever body part, like you're working out. You don't want to do it too much because you do need your body to rest. Muscle needs to rest in order to grow. So just to change it up.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, listening to your body. That's like the old
Yeah.
pleasure seeker is if you keep doing the same thing, we
Mm.
actually may not find joy in it as well. And the total opposite with you in two ways. You might both have curly hair and black shirts on today, but I am a morning person. I have to plan my workout for the next day because I wake up so early, it just feels so relaxing and it's like getting out of your pajamas work. So it's like if I have it written on my list, I don't mess around with my little paper.
Yeah.
That I have to write down my workout then. But I think it goes to show how all of our brains work differently. So embrace what works for you and not always what everybody else is telling you. Doesn't that resonate with you?
Oh, 100%. Everybody's body is different. And I think the important thing is to not feel bad if what works for one person doesn't work for you. Like find what works for you. At the end of the day, that's that they say the most consistent workout the best workout is the one you do most consistently, right? So find one that you love. Find something that you love, like and you'll just want to keep doing it. Because if you dread it, you're not gonna stick with it, right? I don't think anybody loves like doing something that they just hate.
No. why should you? And
Right. Exactly.
beginning of the conversation of the way I see you celebrate food and, finding pleasure in it, be the same for movement. I feel like you can keep a running club because the way that people just did walk and just
Yeah.
whatever they needed, and nobody judged anybody because that's not.
No, not at all.
And I love. I mean, I didn't expect to run and finish it just like the way I did, but I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it. Plus, I'm a little competitive.
That helps actually too.
Yes, it was more competition with myself because it wasn't about run. It was about being around people. And I think this idea of let's do it alone. I mean, you know, finding each other on Instagram and all the things. Like, there's so much power in yourself, like what your family does for yourself. That's supportive. And if people are not being supportive, like if you don't want to drink and people are putting pressure on you, those probably aren't people to be around.
Right. Exactly. I think
So
that's a very important thing too, is to surround, like if if you do want to work out more, surround yourself with people who are very passionate about it and also want to work out more, will be encouraging to you, right? They say you're if you're around 5 people that have certain characteristic, you're gonna be the sixth, right? And so I always find that interesting. Like if you're always hanging out with people who don't like to exercise, you're most likely not gonna exercise either. So
that's
also
your
interesting.
cues. Be the exception to the rule. You'd be
Yeah.
surprised. You only need one person who will just like
Sure.
go be your walk buddy or whatever it is, or go try a new restaurant, or, just do something different surrounding yourself. And I was just reading
Right.
a book where it's like, if you want to find new friends, surround yourself in places like what you do so that you can meet like-minded people. Just
Right.
you don't know what's going to happen. I haven't spoken to anyone since then other than you, but so what?
Yeah.
Here we are.
Right. Yeah. And there's more events that I'm going to be doing, so you could just keep coming to those, and there'll be new people or maybe the same people. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yes. But in that moment, I had a great conversation.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like every time I do one of these events, I'm like, it's so life-giving because I meet we all meet new people. We all have great conversations. We're all like-minded. We have similar values. Then we're just eating food. Like who doesn't love an event surrounded by good food?
Everybody does, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
I think we just, again, I want people to enjoy food more and not treat it as the enemy, because there's so much we can do with it. Running to go get your croissant, that's amazing. I mean, just that's balance right there.
Right.
Yes.
Making me think. I was like, oh, maybe I should have one in Santa Monica since Shaman there. I love Shaman. We're on a pace run. I mean, there's lots of beaches here in Long Beach too. So I'm like, oh, that's why I like to alternate. I'm like, oh, there's so much everywhere.
There's so much, you just have to look. So no, let's move forward here in 2025 of no excuse land. Hop on board. One thing, just always love to. I mean, you've talked about all these great things, but if you were to tell your little girl self, your 6-year-old self, something, was there a life lesson that you would tell her?
Yes, it would be that if something doesn't go according to plan, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up because sometimes there's opportunity in that moment, right? When your plan deviates, like it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it's a new opportunity, right? And so that can be applied to anything. Like let's say you have a fitness goal and it doesn't go according to plan. Well, like who cares? It's okay. It's okay. You tried. There's still a reward in trying because a lot of people are afraid to try different things, right? So whatever you're willing to either take a risk on or whatever, it's okay. And don't be afraid to just try and move forward. The The focus would be to just move forward. Always move forward.
Yes. There's no, if we could take failure out of our vocabulary and just think about, again, going back to the beginning of the conversation, is thinking about all the ways that you can do it versus
Mhm.
that's not working, because that holds
Yeah.
you back. So,
Right.
and I think nurture that little girl self of ours always is, how would you take care of her when things aren't going as planned, as you said? You would never, tell that girl to give up. Absolutely.
Right. No. No. Be like, oh, you've done too much. Just give up. Like, no, never.
It's absurd. But when you hear it,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we are our worst enemies, right? But that's why at the end of the day, keep surrounding yourself with people who support you. Do community wherever you are, like Eunice has. Find them if you're not in the LA area. But I will link all of your information and all the things. I know you have like what else you want to share with everybody and where to find you.
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram at Rated V Food, and then also on YouTube at Rated V Food or Rated V for Vegan. Either one will show up. Those who are interested in vegan travel. I am hosting some international trips this year. I did 2 last year and they were so much fun. Again, because of the vegan community. Honestly, that's what makes these trips. Besides the fact that we're in a cool new location and discovering the vegan scene and also just touring around, you make new friends. And so Croatia is almost done. There's only 2 spots left for vegan in Croatia. For those interested who want to go to Croatia with other vegans, now's the time. It's on my Instagram or my YouTube. And same with, I'm hosting again the vegan in Vietnam trip I did last year, and that's in November. And I have another trip coming up in the fall. I can't officially announce it yet because it's not fully done. But for those interested in Spain, that's just FYI, it's coming soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Well, listen, I just so appreciate your energy of just do it. I know Nike did it, but you are the epitome of superpower and just never give up, do something amazing with yourself, for yourself, and others will follow. Thank you for leading the way and getting us all together on all that. So I'm so excited for the next adventure.
Yes.
Yeah, anything else that you want to share?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me on here and sharing, just different experiences because I feel like it's helpful for anybody who's maybe going through their vegan journey or just whatever journey they're on to know what other people's experiences are, right? Or what they were. It's always it's nice to have that relatability. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. I think that's, it's a conversation we need to have, because we didn't all grow up with the same story. We just have to
Mhm.
appreciate whatever we take from that, learn from it, and know that, there's always a better way. That's what I hope for all of you here. Awesome. Well, I'm excited, and we'll get that information, buddy. So thank you, and we'll see you in the next adventure.
Yes. Thank you.